What's up, family? What's up? She sound off. Hey, little stars. So, y'all, let me tell you, this Mercury retrograde tried to take me out. Okay? It tried to take your girl out of the game.
Bad energy, I zoom, zoom, zoom. I be on my way like I be coming soon. Got a chopper on.
I was literally like, so this past week, I was in the worst space, like the worst space that I've been in a long time. And yesterday, shit hit the fan. It was almost like you a balloon, and you inflate the balloon with helium, and then that balloon is rising, it's getting bigger, and it's like, you know, once it gets to the place where it's good, you tie that mug up. Well, I kept pumping helium into my balloon, and then my balloon popped. That's where I was at. And so I want to just talk about it, and I want to talk to you guys about how I came back from it, because that's the most important thing. It's not about going through it, because you have to go through it, but it's about how you came out of it and how you dealt with it while you were going through it. All right, so you guys, let's talk about it. Okay, so right before, I think the Mercury retrograde started on the 19th, I think it was about the 19th. I don't know. But anyway, so I felt myself getting extremely over creative. And I learned that that is an indicator because I had this big burst of energy, of creativity, but not in a way where I was kind of like going through the steps, or I just had this big burst. It was just out of nowhere, right? And when I do that moving forward, I would know to take a moment and make sure I'm receiving the right kind of feeling and emotion, because this one was a little bit different. So I had this burst of energy, and then right when the retrograde started, I started to feel like I was here, and then it started dropping like this, slowly but surely dropping. And I didn't know like where it came from. I didn't know I didn't know where it came from. I didn't know like how it happened out of nowhere. All I know is I felt my energy dropping. It went from being up here where I had this big burst of I was completely an overflow of energy, and then it started coming down, and I was just like, what the hell is happening to me in this moment? What is happening? Like, where did this all go? Right? And so then I totally crashed. Yesterday I woke up and I felt like the world had crashed on me. I felt like I wasn't worthy. I felt like I didn't deserve anything. I felt like I was a complete failure. I just felt like I was wrestling in my inadequacies, y'all. And it was not the greatest feeling. Actually, I felt really low. And I knew that it was the Mercury retrograde, and I kind of relied on that. I kind of sat with that and used that as an excuse to wallow in what I was feeling, until I had the women in my women's group, Women of Alignment, to call me because they felt my energy. We always have our phone calls on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and they felt me, because I'm usually the upbeat one. I'm usually the motivator. I'm usually on time. I'm usually there, with words of encouragement to all the ladies all the time. And this time I was just not. And so they knew that I wasn't at my normal self, and then they knew what I was going through in the past few days. So they hit me up. And what I love about having a strong team that believe in you, love you genuinely, unconditionally, is always there to pick you up. When you have cultivated and created and attracted your team, they will always see you and your destruction before you can see it, because they sense something out of they're not used to seeing you in that space. What they did for me was, I need you to write in your journal. I need you to do the work. I need you to do all the things, even in this moment, that you tell other people to do. I need you to practice that in this moment. And I'm not even gonna lie. When you feel like the world is crashing in on you, you don't necessarily make the best decisions. And that's the space that I was in. I was in a space where, though I was feeling a lot and going through a lot, and yes, the Mercury retrograde is happening, I wasn't recognizing my power. I wasn't recognizing who I was. I wasn't putting those tools in action that I would usually do on a regular day. And in fact, that is when you're supposed to use those tools the most, because that's when you need it the most. I didn't say force, I said push, motivate. So what the ladies did for me yesterday was they was like, well, you need to journal about it. And I was like, yeah, I don't feel like journaling. I don't feel like picking up a piece of paper, a book. I don't feel like doing nothing but laying here. And then I wasn't crying and stuff like that. And they was like, well, we get it. Cry it out. Sleep for a minute. You need to get out of your head. The more that you're stuck in your head, the more you're wallowing in your inadequacies, the more you're wallowing in your self-pity. You need to use the energy, that the little energy that you do have, to transmute that into something that's going to be of benefit to you. And of course, I didn't really feel like it, but I actually did it. I did it even though I didn't want to. I did it. I still was wrestling with some emotions, because what I don't want to do, what you should never do, is sweep your emotions under a rug. I let them play out. But then I told myself, I'm going to write in my journal. I'm going to read my journal. And every time those thoughts come to try to knock me off my square, I'm going to bring it right back, and I'm going to bring it right back. I'm going to bring it right back, so much so that I found this journal entry that I wrote in August. And you guys, let me tell you something. At the time that I wrote this, I don't think I was feeling like this. And when I came back and I realized it, when I came back and I read it this rip, I realized that I wrote this journal entry not for me at that time, for me in this time. So I was talking to my future self. That's why journaling is really important. Journaling can be so many things, but you never understand how significant it is to get a feeling out of you that where you were feeling anyway, where you were high, where you were low, get those feelings out, because you never know when they'll come in handy. You never know the power of how effective these are. Maybe not so much in that moment, but like for this situation, for this moment. I didn't know that these journal entries for my future self when I was writing it. I had no idea. But I'm glad I followed my spirit, and I'm glad I wrote them. They're called SelfIntentions. The first one is remember. Well, it's not necessarily a part of it, but this is kind of like the intro. It says, remember who the fuck you are. You have overcome the worst in this season. You are strong, resilient, and headstrong. Anything you set your mind to, you can do it. Never forget. Now, I was wrestling with that exact thing yesterday, where I felt like I didn't deserve anything. I didn't realize my worth. I felt like what I was doing wasn't enough. And so reading this from me back in August to me in January kind of helped me understand, well, you're not normally in this space. Normally you're upbeat, you're pushing yourself, you're pushing others. So this isn't your normal vibration. I was able to find hope in that. Another one of my favorites are take inventory of how far you have come. So when I read these, I had to, that triggered something in me, because then I started to look at all the things that I've accomplished. I looked at my past videos, and I looked at how much growth I've had as a speaker, or as a presence here on YouTube, or how I go on my lives, or just all the things that I've done. I went back and I kind of looked at those things, and I brought up memories of me speaking in front of people and getting the acknowledgement and people receiving the messages. Those are things that I was almost taking for granted because I was in a bad headspace. But reading this, always come back, take inventory of how far you've come, helped me to realize that it's just a moment. It's just a moment. This is not your real life. This is not how you normally vibrate. This is one of my favorite ones. Don't guess, know what you're capable of. Don't guess, know what you are capable of. So that allowed me to rest assured that I can trust my spirit. I can trust myself. Even in this moment of despair and sadness and grief and fear and all this stuff, I can still trust myself. That's huge. You know, I think a lot of times the reason why people get caught up in depression and sadness and, you know, despair, and why they fall victim to those emotions is because they don't realize that or they don't trust themselves to believe that this is just a moment. I know a few people with depression, and a big part of their depression is that they feel like that there's no future, there's no hope for anything to come. And with that, when you're steady telling yourself that over and over in your head, you will soon believe it. If the more you feed into something, the more you believe it, the more it becomes a part of you. And so even though I didn't feel like I was capable of anything, even though I felt vulnerable and just lost, when I read this, or after reading this, I felt like, okay, maybe there is some hope for me. You know, maybe this is just a moment that I'm having, and I can trust myself. I can trust this part of myself, because understand that when I read this, I'm like, well, she's a bad bitch. Like, I was like, okay, she's amazing. Like, she's bomb. I can trust this person. This person is laying on this couch. This person that can't get out the bed. I don't too much know if I can trust her decisions, because it just doesn't feel good. But this woman who's telling me, take inventory of how far you've come. No, don't guess that you are phenomenal. Know what you are capable of. I can trust her words. It sounds much better than I can't do it or I don't deserve. One more. Let me see. Stop doubting your gift. Stop doubting your gift. That's all I was doing the other day. I was like, ooh, are you really who you say you are? Can you really make a change? Can you really transform people's lives? Are you really the person that people should follow? All these questions was coming up in my head the other day. After reading this, I trusted this person who wrote this. The person in this space, I trusted her where she said, stop doubting your gift. I don't have to doubt my gift. If in this moment I'm feeling doubtful, that's fine. But don't stay there. Don't doubt your gift. Okay? So it was an eye-opener, and it was almost like a silver lining that I can trust myself even when I didn't think I could trust myself. So journaling is really important. Not only that, cultivating a group of people around you that really love you, that really believe in you, that really will fight for you even when you don't believe in yourself is really important. Journal your heart out. Journal your heart out, okay? I do a wind down and journal on Instagram, on my She Sound Off Instagram on Fridays at 8 Central. So if you're watching this video, come over to IG, check out my wind down and journal, where I just randomly select journal entries from the past and talk about and expound on it. And it's a really good time, okay? So I'm glad you guys decided to watch my video. I hope that helped you in some way. If you have any questions, concerns, or comments, feel free to leave them right on here. I love you so much, guys. And remember that self-preservation is the first law of nature. Love yourself. Love yourself. Love yourself. Lead with your heart, and everything else will soon follow. And make sure you guys subscribe to my channel. Hit the notification bell so you can be notified when more videos are coming up. I love you guys. Until next time. Peace.